Okay.
Goddamn, we back live. Woo! Sorry about that.
Yay.
Man, look, we over here stressing, trying to get everything taken care of. It's been one of those nights, but we're gonna be back. We're back at it. We're doing it. We ain't gonna stop. We ain't gonna let a little echo and a little microphone mishap stop us from this interview tonight.
Nope.
And
Keep it pushing.
again, for those of you who just tuned in, we have Dr.Colon here on the show. Hang on, now we got. Yeah, hold on. I gotta go open the door. Can you talk to him?
Yes. Oh no. Now he stepped away.
God damn, son.
This is real life, people. This is real life.
Welcome to the world of YouTube Live.
Yes.
That's how it is.
But now, since we're in our second broadcast, can you tell the people who you are and where you're from, and then also introduce your documentary as well?
Absolutely. My name is Derek, Dr. Derek Colon. They call me D. I am from the Bronx originally, living in Florida. I'm a school teacher, teach social studies to K through 5th graders. Love it. Get to pour in, give information. I'm a historian at heart. And yeah. And then want to talk about the doc real quick?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I created this documentary called Hip Hop. It's not called Hip Hop History. We are all over the place tonight, but that's good. It's okay. It's called Hip Hop is from the Bronx, and it's really just a documentary that goes into the really the 4 elements. Obviously, the 5th one being knowledge, but the 4 elements. And I really wanted to do this documentary to really talk about these elements in detail, because I don't think I've seen a documentary that really tackles the elements in full detail. There might be a graffiti documentary, there might be a b-boy documentary, there might be a DJ documentary, an MC documentary, and most of the documentaries are really about the MCs or rapping. But I wanted to go into the weeds and dig a little bit and really sort of showcase a lot of the unsung heroes, a lot of the people that a lot of people don't know about, and also to showcase the fact that Puerto Ricans were there from day one. And so that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we got none other than Professor Daddy-O from Stetsasonic in the green room. We're gonna bring him in here in just a quick second. We also have Chicago's 606 Shadow Master in the building. Yeah, he runs the longest running hip hop open mic in the world. You got to talk to the front of the mic, not that part. Damn.
That part.
Yeah. So Shadow Master's in the building. We in the building. We're gonna grab Daddy-O and throw him in here. Might as well just throw everything in the mix right now.
Let's get the gumbo simmering. Let's do it.
It's been a cold.
Yo, if hold on one second. If people are telling me, where do I send them to watch this? Unrap?
YouTube. Go to YouTube. www.youtube.com/@unrap.
Okay.
So we got Daddy-O in the building. I don't even want you to put no applause on. I'm scared to death. Shit might start tweaking and everything else.
Nothing. No.
Got a whole lot going on.
We're gonna just have to feel the love tonight.
Yeah.
Much love to a legend.
Yeah.
Much love.
So yeah. /@unrap. UNRAP. Yeah. So what was the purpose of the documentary? Like, how did you even get motivated to do the documentary? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I had been doing content for a while. I started, I think it was 2019. I had another channel which is still up, and it was Hispanic Heritage Month, and I wanted to do just one video. I did a video on the Puerto Rican contribution to hip hop culture. I did that and really didn't get any hits, right? And then 2020 came around, and I just happened to be looking through my videos, and I noticed all these comments, And when I clicked on them, it was all negative comments. Like, yeah, y'all weren't there, yeah, blah, 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 all this stuff. So I said, I need to make another video. So I made another video, and then I made another video, and I made all these different videos. And earlier, I want to say around February, I'm at home, and one of my friends, maybe it was after February, one of my friends contacted me who has no skin in the game. He's not into hip hop. He's not into the culture. He's just a friend of mine who watched some of the videos. And he said, man, why don't you do a documentary? And I said, I mean, everybody's done a documentary. And so, I thought about it, and then I connected with a friend of mine by the name of Randy, who is also, a very well, he's a historian, been in numerous documentaries himself. He was in The Freshest Kids, and we connected. And I just decided to take a lot of the pieces that I had done and then just sort of put those together, and I had to map it out, and then I recorded some of myself, and I just started to talk about what's being talked about. And then I just said, let me just go deeper. And so I said, I want to cover the idea, the elephant, as I called it in the documentary, the elephant in the room, that hip hop is not from the Bronx, but that hip hop is actually from the South. And it began in the 1930s. And they use these videos to sort of back up this claim. So I start the doc with that, and just sort of looking at that and seeing if that makes any sense. And let's just examine that. And then we looked at that. We looked at the so-called rappers, and the Jubilaires and all of these guys who were doing rhymes, no doubt. And then I went from graffiti, looking at that. The other misnomer is that there's a gentleman by the name of Cornbread who's from Philadelphia, and he claims to be the inventor of modern graffiti. And so I wanted to sort of deal with that issue and look at that historically and see, were there any New York writers that predate him? And the answer is yes. And then we just went from graph. We looked at gang culture. Hip hop is steeped in the outlaws of the 70s, the 60s, and the 70s. And then we looked at the DJs and the B-boys and the MCs. But I really wanted to focus on what I consider to be the foundation stones of the culture, which is the DJs who played the breaks and the B-boys. Talked to numerous pioneers who have said, and these are B-boy pioneers who have said that B-boys are the X factor in hip hop culture. Many people believe it's rapping, it's the MCs, but B-boys have always been the X factor. If there was no B-boys, there would be no hip hop. The DJs that played the breaks for the B-boys played for that specific audience, and the B-boys look for that certain sound to break to. And so the DJs before Herc, while they played those records, did not cater to B-boys. So it wasn't the same thing. So I'm just jumping ahead of myself, but that was the reason for the documentary.
One would argue that, and a lot of people do argue that the DJ is the one that makes it all come together as a culture. But I mean,
yeah.
And for the sake of education, but for the people who haven't seen the documentary or just may not be as well versed in hip hop, by definition, what is a B-boy?
A B-boy, the definition of a B-boy, Kool Herc is the first one to coin the term. He names the B-boys in 1975. And I do want to address the 1973 party, but he calls them B-boys in 75. That's where he comes up with the term. And it originally, there was a few ways that people looked at it. It originally meant Bronx boy, break boy. Some people said, it could have meant Brooklyn boy, but that just wasn't a factor because Herc is from the Bronx. So those are b-boys. B-boys are really those who would hit the floor, right? There were dancers. There were dancers before the b-boys. The b-boys really don't come on the scene as we know b-boying until late 74, 75. That's when you see the first breakers hitting the floor. And they named it breaking because of the breaks that they played in the record. And so I never heard the term b-boy, right? The first time I saw b-boys was in 75. I never heard the term b-boy. We always called it breaking, going off, floor rocking. But that doesn't mean it wasn't used. We just never called that in my neighborhood. We just never called that. I'm from the South Bronx, so right. That's where the term comes from. But yeah, there's somebody trying to get. They can't find the link for some reason. People are trying to get in. They can't find it. I think because it's taking them to Facebook, and some of them don't have Facebook. So
no, they have to go to YouTube. If they just go to YouTube and search Unrap.
UNRAP.
UNRAP at Unrap.
Search Unrap.
What are your thoughts, Daddy?
On YouTube. Okay.
I mean, I want to start off by applauding the brother for, standing up for some of the things that needed to always be stood up for. Why would somebody think hip hop started in the 30s, though? Like, you shouldn't even have to argue that part. Like, that's dumb. Like, you know what I mean? That's real dumb. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like we have a self-contained culture. Why don't we just like marvel at that? Why do we want to say, that's what I tell people all the time, the last poets ain't rap. No disrespect. I worked with Omar and them and everything. Those guys are my friends now. We all old together. You know what I mean? But they not rap. You know what I mean? Like we are who we are. Like, this is what we are. I work with a guy, right? This guy right now has to be about 96. Gene Barge in 1961, the year I was born. Him and a guy named Gary U.S. Barnes had a hit called A Quarter to Three, Black Guys. And I worked with him. And I was talking to him about the Pig Meat Markham record, the Here Comes the Judge, and how that sounds like rap. He says, Daddy, he wasn't the only one rapping, and Pig Meat was the worst. He said the guys used to come in here and tap and rap, right? So I understand that because I'm talking to a guy that was helping to build Stacks and produce Minnie Riperton and all of this stuff. But he doesn't even look at that like it's us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We have something. Right. Why don't we just hold on to what we have? Because they don't have an Andre 3000. Duh. Mm-hmm. They don't have a Scarface. Duh. Like, we got gems. Like, we got joints to hold on to. Me, I rock with Big Crit all day. You know what I mean? Challenge me with Crit. Watch what happens to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's where we at. Like, we have something. So that's the first thing I want to do is just applaud him. And then it's like, I think there's a lot to be said about that. Because for somebody to try to make it sound like hip hop is black culture, that doesn't sound right. If anything, we say universal culture. We could say a whole bunch of other things that it was through maybe the Nation of the Gods on Earth might have said it one way. Maybe the Zulu Nation would have said it one way. Different people might have said it in a different way, but it always meant unity. Always.
Mm-hmm. Do you think? Either one of you can answer this question? Do you think that with the internet and with everyone, because it's so crazy to me to see like even elder statesmen that are vying for attention. Do you think that the internet has caused a lot of these guys to make up stories, to do things, to try to get attention, to get money, to get some kind of revenue coming in and things of that nature?
I mean, it could be money. It could be. I doubt very seriously with my peers if it's money. The way I describe it with my peers is that we spend our whole life being Superman, and then when it comes down to being Clark Kent, we don't know how. Right. So now we older and we got to learn to be Clark Kent, and that's the disconnect, right? Right. Because how do you be a grown man and listen to Gunna?
Right.
I mean, I do all the time, but I'm just saying, how do you do it? Like, it's a way to do it, and the only way to do it is through the culture. You gotta understand the lineage of hip hop. If Young Thug is not my son, then whose son is it? I'll wait. Kenny Rogers' son. Oh no, let's see. Bob Marley's son. Nope, I got a better one. John Bon Jovi's son. No,
Mm,
Thug is my son. And that's a
mm,
fact. And if I'm an absentee father, I'm just an absentee father, bro. I gotta live with that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
mm,
But we all one, man. We all one. And for
mm.
somebody to say that like it's just black culture, that's kind of nonsensical. You know? Especially I mean, come on, bro. Doc, back me up on this. Some of the first
Mm.
breaks was Latino, what we call them, Latin Cuban breaks. How do we call Apache and the Mexican and all that?
Hey, I got
Come
hey,
on,
hey,
Doc.
hey.
Come on, come on, come on,
Daddy-O,
come
But
on,
how do
man.
we call that, Dr. Colon? What do we call that? Like the Mexican,
That's
all
the
of those
yeah.
dope Latino breaks that broke through.
That's the Latin breakdown, bro. Those are the
Yeah,
b-boy
yeah,
anthems. Yeah,
we had more of that than anything else because it's what set us apart.
that's it right there. That's what I
Yeah,
needed to hear right there, and that's what people need to hear. I'm working
yeah. Because
on
the only time
a
R&B
second.
had it right was only time R&B had that girl was Stevie Wonder, Another Star, right? They had it there.
Mm-hmm.
That Another Star got that breakdown, man. That joint crazy.
That's
Boom, 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 boom. They tried to go there, but we was Apache and Commande or Samande, however you pronounce it. We was in it like that.
Mm,
The
mm,
original
mm,
Barabbas hijack. Come on,
mm-hmm.
bro. Celia Cruz was alive. Come on, man. Stop
Yeah.
playing. We was in it, man. You know what I mean? We was in it, like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
sad because we have the only. Okay, let me not say the only because other cultures will get mad at me, especially reggae now, because they got them cruises now. So everybody playing reggae because of the cruises. But anyway, um, we got one of the only cultures that bring all the nations together.
that's
Heard
true.
what I
Yeah.
said? And I love country, and I love what country stand for, and all of that. And I root for everybody in country that's not, from Milwaukee or from Mississippi or from the, Red Clay of Georgia. I root for them people, but those people have to make that grassroots music because
Mm,
that's where they from. It ain't their fault. No black people don't live there. No black people just don't live there, and
That's
they got to
true.
mm,
make their
mm,
music. You know what I mean? Hip hop is a music that because it came out that melting pot of New York had everybody involved in it anyway, and we did whatever
mm.
was gonna make us different because we
Mm.
had
That's right.
weapons. You know what I mean? That was the way. But I don't know, bro. I love everything you're doing. I just think you shouldn't have to argue with them about 1930. Like they shouldn't even be thinking about. We could play
Yeah.
around with what year in the Bronx and whether Disco King Mario was scratching before Theodore. We could do all that
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of stories. You know what I'm saying? There's a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of stories. We could play
Mm-hmm.
around in the origin stories all day. That's cute. Archaeologists do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, man. They
Yeah,
got to
that,
Yeah.
stop that, man. They really
that's
got to stop that, bro.
that's one of the reasons why I reached out to Dr. Colon because after I saw the documentary, like first of all, the documentary was amazing. I'll just tell you that to your face, sir. And I went down a rabbit hole after that, and then I
Mm,
just saw a lot of people that were like the way I was seeing it was attacking the man. And I watched a few podcasts and everything, and he humbly sat and listened to all of them yelling and screaming, arguing back and forth. And I thought, man, I need to get this guy on my show and give him a platform to speak without him being interrupted or being yelled at
What
or
are
being
they saying? They're saying that. What are they saying? They're saying hip hop is black and Puerto Rican, Dominican people wasn't with us when we was doing it in the beginning. Is that what they saying?
yeah.
They
Yeah.
bugging, yo. They wasn't even there though. Who's saying this? Somebody that was there?
Nah,
it's
It
nah,
can't
nah.
be nobody
So
who was there because Kaz ain't gonna say that. Mel ain't gonna say that.
nah.
He,
Kaz did say that.
Kaz said
Kaz
it
said
too.
that. Yeah, Kaz said it. Yeah, Kaz said it.
Oh
Kaz
man,
Ka-
Kaz. But the
Kaz said
Cocas
that
ain't
he
have.
brought.
But the Cocas ain't had no Puerto Ricans though. And
Yeah,
Fantastic
of
bust
course.
their ass. Fantastic bust their ass too. And Ruby D was in the group. Ruby D is my man.
Right.
And I'm a Puerto Rican. You might think I'm black by the way I'm speaking. Yo, come on, man. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Knock it off. Knock it off.
Yeah. So Kaz on Vlad TV said that Puerto Ricans are guests in the house of hip hop. And
Ooh, that hurts.
I made a video addressing him, and I said, how can we be a guest in the house that we're native to? We're native to
Right.
the house. We're from the house. I mean, I don't know when did we come, and so this is what I mean. The documentary, I wanted to really point out the unsung heroes, the Puerto Rocks that nobody knows about, that nobody talks about. And it's not
Right.
just me. It's my man Randy is helping me. I got track two, original B-boy from the 70s also. So I'm working on another doc now. And it's funny, Daddy-O, that you mentioned, the Latin, because the new doc is called The Latin Breakdown. And we're going to deal with those breaks and the progression and the sound of those breaks were Afro-Cuban in their nature. It comes from
Yo,
that sound.
the two biggest breaks back in the day, one was Afro-Cuban and one was white.
Very bottom.
One was
Mm-hmm.
Afro-Cuban, it was Apache, and that Tom Brown, what's the name that I Can't Stop? What was it? I can't. It's crazy.
I don't know.
It was
Yeah.
but I'm telling you, it's like, yo, bro. I don't know. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's deep. No, you know what I mean. It's real deep because you know the black thing is really everybody thing, and when people try to divide the what am I looking for? People try to divide the houses of freedom, where they want
Mm-hmm.
freedom. And, when you try to divide them houses of freedom, man, it gets crazy, man. Because we all want the same thing, man. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if we could figure that out, I mean, we could do it accordingly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that that definition thing is weird. That gets real weird because okay, if you're saying that, oh yeah, Puerto Ricans are a guest in the house of hip hop. Okay, so what's your house and who's the head of household here?
Right. Right.
Valid question.
Right.
Because I want to know who let them in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're
Let
asking.
me talk.
When
Let me talk to the guy. Let me talk to the guy that let them in. That said that they was a guest here. I'll wait.
right.
Mm.
I will fucking wait, bro. Excuse my language.
I'm still waiting
Fuck
for the
out of here, man.
invitation. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Who
My
gave it to him? Like who
my
did it,
question.
bro? Because look, we run tight circles all the time. Cats before us, we was different type of criminals, but cats before us, I mean after us, so dope. They ran different type of little circles. Everybody know if somebody come in your circle, it's got to be somebody on somebody's strength. That guy is number 4 or 5. It's 4 of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all together. Y'all do whatever y'all do. Boom, dirt or whatever. Maybe it's clean. I don't know. Maybe y'all rap together. Whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody number 5 come in, he coming in on the recommendation on one of them 4.
Facts.
True.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Somebody had to let him in. So I want to talk to the person that let him in. I guarantee you don't find that person. You'll never
Nah.
find that person because they was already sitting at the table, idiot. They was right there with you, dodo. The fuck?
Yeah.
Somebody
No,
had
Yeah.
to.
come on, man. Don't get me started, man. For real, bro. I'll go off on them. Yeah, and they know me because I'm. Please, man, I don't play with these old dudes like that. I don't, man. Because
Mm.
it's they not rapping like. Don't let me get on my daddy or they not rapping like yo. I really don't want to hear you do nothing but rapping. Like,
Mm.
cause I know you as a rapper.
Mm.
Right.
When you start talking about culture and guests and all of that, bro, go rap.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm
Mm.
man.
telling them, yo, I seen them at that Charlie Mack did one. I'm telling you, to this day, to my mother in heaven, the best concert for Hip Hop 50 was when Charlie Mack did that thing in August in Atlantic City. He had 50 acts on the bill, and he had all of us
Mm.
come on and do and go off and do a song. That joint was hard. It was dope. It was a bunch of us, And I was in the hall yelling because what's it called was there with me, the kid from Nice and Smooth B. I don't know if y'all heard his new stuff, Smooth B rapping. And I said, man, all y'all call yourself rappers. Ain't nobody in there rapping but me and Smooth B. Y'all talking about y'all rappers. There's 50 of y'all in here. Gunna dropped last night. I bet you none of y'all heard it. Get out of here, man. Sit down somewhere, man. Go ahead with that, bro. Cause I'm all culture, bro. I'm all the way through from the beginning of wherever I started to right now to what Finesse Two Times is doing, or for what whoever is working on, or the new World Wave, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm there. Like it's more to life than Megan and Cardi. It's even more to pop life than Megan and Cardi. You heard me? You know what I mean? It's just you got to listen, man. That's all we did in the beginning. If a rap record came out, we didn't even care what the record was. We just go in the record store and say, "What's that? Oh, that's rap. Oh, give me that." We buying 12 inches just because they say they rap records. You know what I mean? And well, right now it's like, oh, we old school, so we disconnected from the new school. They're not what we were. The music today is trash. Come on, man, knock it off.
I got a question for you, Daddy-O. Of anybody that you've heard recently, who wouldn't mind getting down on the collab with?
New dudes, I like Rod Wave a lot. I think I want to do a record with Kodak though.
Okay.
Like that would be dope. Like Kodak would be dope. Wayne, I can't keep up with yet, so I'm not doing that. Like I got to do one of the newer guys, right? Roddy Rich, one of them. You know what I mean? Like I can't go with like Wayne or none of them because I'm not. I mean, I'm getting there. I started rapping again in 2016, so I'm getting there. Like my shit is getting there. Like about 2 years later, about 18, I caught a groove, and so I'm good now. You know what I mean? I got to work my way up. But I mean, just in terms of sonics, I definitely would say Kodak. On the girl side, I mean, I don't really. I rock with some of the popular girls, but I'm talking about make a record with on the girl side. Right now, it would probably be Glow. Like right now, but it seemed like Glorilla getting ready to get like somebody else is coming because that's how they do that. And
So,
whenever you get real hot, they start moving you like this.
man,
you know.
for sure,
But
for sure.
yeah, it'd probably be Glow and Kodak. Yeah.
Dr. Colon, uh,
Yes, sir.
what I have a question like when the documentary drops and you start seeing all of these detractors, what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts at that moment, like when you start seeing these people going, what the hell is he talking about, and this man's crazy, and so on and so forth? What were your thoughts on those things?
I mean, first of all, I think Daddy O hit it on the head. Many of these people are not from New York. So they're from the South. They're outsiders. They're reading, Wikipedia, Google. They're watching YouTube videos. They're watching a certain channel that's putting out this misinformation about the history, and they don't know, and they're young, right? These are not old people. But when you have some of the pioneers, sort of co-signing that, so they jump on that, so they look, oh, Cass said it, oh, Lord Jamar said it, oh, so these dudes are co-signing this, and I've already tried to reach out to them to have conversations about this, and again, the pioneers that I've talked to, you know, have all said, nah, we could talk about the story, but there's definitely none of that. So I think for me, the way I felt, if I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I was a little bit discouraged, just because, you know, yeah, man, people are trying to get in, they can't get in. It's not working. I don't know. I'm gonna just leave it at that point.
Let me check that.
But
I'll put the
yeah,
link up on the screen here in a sec, but I'm just gonna check on YouTube and make sure that everything is going right.
I mean, it's on. I can see it. I'm looking at it now. Um, so it's on, but
Yeah, it's
let me do something. Hold on one second.
Can you share it from the screen?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that. Okay, I got it right now. Let me just share it. Boom. Let me copy the link and then let me put it in where these people are saying they can't see it. All right, here's the link. Bam. Okay, I just sent it. So
yeah.
the way that I felt was a little bit discouraged. But again, just because I got a tight circle around me, you know, Randy, he lives in the Bronx. He's in the Bronx, so he's at all the events. This is a Puerto Rican cat. He's at all the events. He knows all the pioneers. He's hanging out with Theodore. I mean, he knows these dudes personally, not just personally. So you know, he's a big help. And then you know, when I see that a lot of them are watching the doc and they're saying good stuff, that just boosted me. That made me feel all right. Okay, all right. I'm not crazy. I'm not saying crazy stuff. Again, most of it is my experience. But then when we start getting into the history, when we start talking about, as Daddy O brought up, when we start talking about Disco King Mario, when we start talking about what was he, you know, was he doing that? What, you know, when we start talking about Coke Rock, when we start talking about, you know, Herc, Flash, Bam, and the breakbeat DJs, um, that's where the dialogue can happen and the debate. But these guys are not from New York. They've never been to a jam. They've never written on trains. They weren't writers. They weren't b-boys. They weren't MCs. They weren't DJs. I did three of those. I was a b-boy, an MC, and a writer. So you know, I'm invested in the culture. I live the culture. I don't do those things anymore. Obviously, you know, age catches up to you. But so I just said I'm gonna keep going, and I just kept making videos, and that's when I decided to split the channel and create Hip Hop History Origins and Elements as a history channel. I, Nothing on the channel is going to be like reviews on rap records and the new stuff. It's just 70s and 80s history, and then talking about people that people don't know. Talking about Puerto Ricans that people don't know. And so, you know, if you go to the channel, you'll see I got a couple of lives coming up. I'm doing a live tomorrow with a DJ by the name of DJ Juneski, old school DJ, you know, from Brooklyn. And we're going to talk about the Latino contribution to hip hop. And then on the 7th, I have an interview with the Mercedes ladies, the first, the first all female MC DJ MC hip hop group, the first. So I'm interviewing them on the 7th and then on the 14th. So I'm trying to get these interviews with these people that a lot of these guys who are talking don't know. And so they just, what they do is they make little videos and then they'll take little snippets from all kinds of videos and then bunch them together and take everything out of its context to create a narrative to say, oh, you see what he said? Look what he said. None of it has to do with anything. They just snip and put it all together. And so
Well,
I'm, I'm
their relationship with Latin America is different. I know because I live in Texas, so
mm,
it's different,
mm,
right? It's just different Latins. No, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But I'm
mm-hmm,
from Brooklyn, right? So all my life I'm raised in New York. So in New York, you know, my best friend is Dominican. Like my best friend is Richie, Dominican. You know what I mean? Like it's natural, right? Um,
mm-hmm.
but then in the South, their relationship with Latin America is different because it's more a relationship with Mexico than it is anything else.
Right.
And so they may not even kind of see the correlation because they might be listening to UGK, they might be listening to Lil Flip, they might be listening even somebody that listened to Breed out of Flint might have not really had the interaction, so that's why they talk about it. Not knowing that interaction already jump sparked them, you know, whether those people was in those neighborhoods or not, but they don't look at it like that. So for them, they do feel a little bit like it's black culture, but they don't do
Mm-hmm.
enough research. They just
Right.
don't dig. They don't dig.
Right.
They take
Mm-hmm.
everything at face. That's the danger of the whole, like, the internet and all of those things. That you asked that question about the internet. It's like the danger is people go too far. Like I have a teenage daughter, and I have to always tell her, because you saw something on YouTube doesn't mean you know it. You just saw it on YouTube.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There you
Mm-hmm.
go.
I mean, there's encyclopedias in our room. Like, do not come to me with no Google. And we got, we wired with Google Home. Hey Google, play this station or whatever. You know what I mean? But don't do no hey Googles for no definitions for me. You're gonna have to go get the book and see what it's saying. And I got books that go all the way back to the 20s. Put it this way, without getting in trouble, I can make this line. I have Mac. I can't get in trouble for saying this. I have old school Barnes and Noble encyclopedia, one book that describes homosexuality as a mental disorder. Okay, I stop. I'm just saying I have, I go back with words, right? I just go back with words. So,
Old ass book. That's
Was
what
Mm-hmm.
it is.
that the
yeah,
Encyclopedia Brown?
And that was real.
Uh,
That was a real
that
thing.
was that the
yeah.
Sonic Brown
Shit,
Encyclopedia?
it probably was all of them.
No. That was Barnes and Noble. I mean, they go back, man. I mean, this is the here. I think you put here to see how much you can make of it. Meaning this damn country. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only thing I could think. Because there's so much embedded in this country, right? I grew up like getting ice cream, right? And then I found out that this song was like some song about kill a nigger or whatever. I'm like, but this is my life. Like I still love Mr. Softy. Like what the hell? Like you just messed up everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't do anything. Like if that knowledge did something, I would understand. If there was
Mm-hmm.
something to it that turned a switch and coins came out or something, okay. But like sometimes people know just for no stupid reason. We play
Mm-hmm.
the tooth fairy until they old enough to figure it out themselves.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
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 You know what I'm saying? Man, come on, man. It make life easier. I'm not trying to do that. Like I pick and choose my battles. That's not gonna take me to heaven or hell. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm a
Mm-hmm.
religious man, that's a fact. You can't even tell a
Mm-hmm.
gangster about those kind of shits. I mean, it's just like it doesn't make sense to me in the way I came up. But that's just probably me. But again, I mean, I,
Mm-hmm.
I think we have not. I think guys like Dr. Colon, we should leave the journalism to them. This is what they want to do. This is what they love. They put in their heart. They put in their mind. Making nasty comments is it's just not a thing. It don't make you dope. It's gonna probably make people hate you more than you think.
Right.
Because the bigger he gets, the bigger your hate gets too.
Mm-hmm.
There you
Mm-hmm.
go.
So
It's
I let
funny.
them have it out on my page. They having it out on my page today. I'm great. I'm good. And they going.
My
And now
question.
they just talking. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
all I did is put up something that what's the little boy that they runs daughter, whatever his name is, that got all the Memphis acts. He said rap today is boring.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Shadows got it.
Gotti, oh Gotti, yeah. He said
Shadow.
he said rap today is boring. And they just went off. They going at each other's throat. Oh no, he's wrong. I'm like, good, go ahead.
Quick question for both of you. What are some of the most influential Latino hip hop artists, whether it be Graph, whether it be breaking, MC, DJ, whatever the case, that you think, and this is for both of y'all, Doc and Daddy, who are some of the
Doc will
cats?
know more than me about that. I know the ones that influence me.
I want to hear that too. Who are some of the cats that you think that people should know more about when it comes to the Latinos and hip hop?
Yeah. Great question. So if we look at the elements, um, definitely beginning with Graph. Graph goes back to the '60s, writing in New York, and obviously we're talking about the graffiti writing culture. We're not talking about writing on walls. That goes back farther than that. But we're talking about the culture specifically. So there's I look at I look at it this way. If I were to look at the elements, again, the ambassadors, like when you think of that element, that's the person you think about. So I would have to say, when it comes to graffiti, the ambassador
Phase two.
is not phase two, though phase two was um, definitely a graffiti historian. We know what we know a lot because of phase two, but I think of Lee Quinones. And so Lee, starting Wild Style, he's the graph writer in Wild Style, Zorro. Lee Quinones was a real writer. And so, he's doing not just him, others, but you know, many graffiti writers were Puerto Ricans, but there were also a lot of white boys that were graffiti writers. There were also a lot of black writers, right? So again, it's multicultural. It's a melting pot. So I think Lee Quinones would be that one, and then when it comes to the DJs, you know, there's so many. The first DJ people mention is Charlie Chase. So Charlie Chase, but he's one among. There's a DJ that DJ with Disco King Mario named Tex D, Tex DJ Hollywood, and not Hollywood from Harlem, but Tex D from Bronxdale, and he's Puerto Rican. In fact, he was the leader of the Young Spades. Tex D was over Bambaataa. Bambaataa was a baby spade. Tex D was his leader, and he led the whole Young Spade movement in New York City. His name is David Santiago. He's a Puerto Rican, right? But he's a DJ. Early, so we got him. We got Charlie Chase. We got Disco Wiz, that DJ with Grandmaster Caz. We got what's his name? I want to say Junebug. Yeah, Junebug played at the Disco Fever, right? You hear it in Grandmaster Flash's song "The Message" at the end when they're getting arrested, and yo, where you going tonight? Yo, we going to see Junebug at the Fever. Junebug's Puerto Rican, so nobody knows this stuff. And then when you get to the B-boys, I mean, forget about it. You got 1975. You got beginning in 1975. Most people think, oh, the Puerto Rican B-boys came with Rocksteady in the 1980s. No. 1975, there's a crew called the Bronx Boys Rockin' Crew, TBB. 1975. That is a predominantly Puerto Rican breaking crew, B-boy crew. They started off as a writing crew. And then you have a group called Star Child of Rock. You have a group called Sal Soul. You have a group called the CC Crew. You have a group called the Rockwell Association. And then you have the Zulu Kings. All those groups outside of the Zulu Kings are all Puerto Ricans, right? This is from 75 to 78. These are the people they don't even know about these dudes because they're just left out of the narrative. And so these are some of the people I'm going to be interviewing. I'm interviewing track 2 coming up. He's from Star Child of Rock, and he's a 70s b-boy. And so with the b-boys, that's that. The DJs, and then the MCs. Look, watch this. Let's do something. This is interesting, and this is just from the research I've done. So MCing doesn't really start until late 76, 77. This is Flash and the 3 MCs. So this is Melly Mel, Kid Creole, and Cowboy. It's Flash and the 3 MCs. Scorpio is hanging with them. He's not an MC yet. Raheem is with the Funky 4. Not the Funky 4 plus one more, but he's with the Funky 4 with Sha Rock. So it's
with Byron and Breakout.
With Baron and Breakout, Raheem, Sha Rock, Lil Rodney C, Cake and Rockwell, Baron and Breakout. And then you have so far you have those MCs, and then you have Ruby D and Whip a Whip. So there's not many. You got this is how many. Among this many, you already got 2 Puerto Rican MCs in there. So to say we weren't part of the foundation is just ridiculous. We're there. And then it just goes on and on. Now, people say, I'm from the Bronx. they say, well, when Fat Joe, and Big Pun, Big Pun was in a cipher, and that's how Joe discovered. Oh, look, I saw that all the time. I saw Puerto Ricans in ciphers, or like when you heard Pun, that's normal in the Bronx. That's what the Puerto Rican MCs sounded like. That, not Rico Suave and all these. That's that gimmicky, nonsense. I'm talking about real MCs. That's what it was. And Pun's son is, Chris Rivers is just as nasty as his father. But this is what I mean. They think it's they think it's just it started with Big Pun. No, there were so many that just never got on, but were in the streets doing it from as early as the 70s. And so Whipper Whip, Ruby D are 70s MCs. And then it just goes on from there. But yeah, so no, there's people I left out, but there's so many. Now look at this. So what they try to do is erase the Caribbeans and the Puerto Ricans. So not only do they want to erase the Puerto Ricans, they want to say that Herc, Flash, and Bam. Herc is Jamaican, Flash is from Barbados, Bambaataa is Jamaican and from Barbados. Red Alert is from Antigua. The person who created the beatbox, Dougie Fresh, is from Barbados, right? I believe so. Barbados, yeah. So all the godfathers, the foundation stones are Caribbeans. Well, they didn't bring Caribbean culture to the. How do you know that? How are you so sure about that they didn't? How do you know what they didn't and did not do? Okay, so when you look at the foundation stones, it points to three things. It points to hip hop being cultivated, created, inspired, Jamaicans, African Americans, Latinos, mainly Puerto Ricans. There's no way around that. But you also had white people. You also had Greeks. You also had it was a melting pot for the culture. So to say it is just foundationally Black American culture, you guys want to be Black, so that's why you got involved. We invited you to the party, and I said, when was this invitation given? Because I'm still waiting for the invitation. What were we doing? We were on the roof watching y'all for years while y'all did it, and that's just ridiculous. And it shows they never lived in the Bronx. They never lived in New York. But if they know anything about New York, if they know anything about the Bronx, they know the Bronx in the 70s, especially the South Bronx, called it Little Puerto Rico. I mean, it was, so, it's just a ridiculous argument. And, I am in no way saying, this is what they accuse me of saying, and I'm not saying this, that Puerto Ricans created hip hop. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's a collective. It's a
Always
collective.
been.
We
Always
did this
been.
together.
We was the Saturday Night Live writing room before it existed.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We always been. There's a movie called Rubu Kings. Chuck D ended up doing the narration, but I was trying out for it, I guess. I put a little bit of it in my TED talk, but they show the gang truce. And when you see the gangs and they go around with the camera and they showing the gang truce, most of those gangs are Puerto Rican gangs, the Ghetto Boys, a bunch of them. And out of that came hip hop.
Right. Right.
And that's how we ended up with them. It was the Afro-Cuban breaks that made us start understanding that boom, bap, 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 boom, bap was us.
Right.
And that's where
Now
it started. Boom, bap.
Mario is in that. Mario was at that meeting, and he's
Oh,
actually in
word?
that clip. Yeah, Disco
Oh,
King
okay.
Mario was at that meeting. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a warlord for the Black Spades.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's just that's the way it started, and it was like, and that's what made it beautiful, and that's what made it different.
Mm.
Couldn't
Like
it
I
be
was just talking to C-Doc about some of the things that we need to do in Spit Slam, and I was like, yo, we got to do some different stuff. Like we can't have everybody clogging the same pipes. You got Chris Payne and a couple of underground artists that people always love, Black Medine and them that the underground always love, and then you got the Daddios and the Chuck D's. You got to market them in a different place. The Stetsasonics. You got to, you still got to
Mm.
figure out some of that stuff. And so I don't think it's wrong to like categorize, kind of where you put it, but to say, I don't know, that sounds weird to me. I never thought of me. I never looked at hip hop. Maybe they talking about the music, but I can't even really see them even talking about the music.
Mm.
right?
You know what I mean? Like maybe they trying to say, but it's not really. But because it started off as DJ control music
Mm.
in the New York area. And then
Mm.
when it seeped to down south, guys like Scarface told me he used to get on a train, and every weekend he came up to see his auntie. He used to get the tapes off 125th Street and said, "Daddy, oh, listen to my mind plays tricks on me. The beat is from Pickin' Boogers. Like that was my favorite beat." And that's why
Mm.
he's that. You know what I mean? Like all of them tell me. CeeLo told me, "Hey, I went up to New York and Shirt Kings made me a jacket that says Little New York. They used to call me Little New York."
Wow.
Mm.
So I know, you know what I'm saying? I know that they admire us like that, and I think that's cool. I just think every place has its. But if you're gonna do the history, like do the history for real. Like don't try to say that because hip hop goes like back. We're not earlier than the '70s. You can't. I I don't buy none of those pig meat markets. That wasn't hip hop. It might sound indelibly similar to what we do, but it's not. It wasn't that. There was no scratching. It was not, culturally, it's not hip hop.
If one
And I don't
makes
care how good they
if
think they was rapping in the '30s.
if one makes the argument and says that it's strictly a black culture, and then they have someone like Cool Herc and Flash, as you said, all these guys are from the Caribbean. Well, if you're saying it's a purely African American culture, well, shouldn't they be excluded if that's the
Yeah,
case?
That's what the brother just said.
Yeah,
I mean, I just don't. I don't even half the time. I don't even see the sense in it. Um, we can't debate these issues. We really can't. It was always a melting pot. That's what the whole issue of sampling is all about, right? That's why I wrote "Talking All That Jazz." Same concept. That people didn't
Mm.
understand that we was collaging it. We was collaging it.
Mm.
That's not hard. That's not hard for artists to digest, especially artists that write from the heart. They don't understand you taking a bunch of pieces from all of them, putting them together.
see that?
I see it.
Do you see that right now? Someone in the comments says Leech Tinos are unwanted guests in hip hop. Cologne can get away with his nonsense on these obscure channels, but he'll never sit in front of a real historian. What the entire fuck is that?
Well, tell
So
them to
wait,
set it
wait, wait.
up.
Let
No,
me
no, no,
see.
no, no, no. Tell them to set it up.
Who was it?
It just says it doesn't say their name apparently because these motherfuckers like to hide behind the internet.
Is Leech
It
Listen,
Tino?
says
I've
Leech.
already. It's Leech
No, but he's saying
Tino.
like Latinos instead of saying Latinos. He's
No, I
calling
was
them
asking
Leech.
if that was the name. So he okay,
No,
I got you.
That is
he,
the name. That no,
oh,
no,
it
that's the
is.
name.
Oh,
Okay.
His name is Leech Tino. So
oh, I
listen,
thought you
I've
were Leech.
already challenged. I've already challenged all of these guys to public debates. Crickets. I've
Right.
challenged Tariq Nasheed to a public debate. Nothing. Won't do it. He's making a documentary.
Mm.
See, and it don't matter to this guy that Daddy O is saying what he's saying,
Right.
but they'll say Daddy O's a sellout because he's saying
Well, they like to talk about me on the internet because I don't back down. So
that.
I said some things they don't really like.
That
Yeah.
reminds me like right before the show, I was talking to the engineer on the show and I was like, people ask me, "Are you ready for the smoke if the smoke comes?" And I'm like, "Man, motherfuckers must have forgot who I am. I want all the smoke. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people say.
I'm just trying to figure out what's what's the motivate? Well, we know what the motivation is for saying some just. I mean, the shit that he's saying is obscure. Why he talking about obscure channels? I mean, that's just asinine ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Some people chase clout, though. Some people chase clout. I mean, you know, when you ever seen that movie, The Whale?
The new
Nah,
movie? No, I haven't seen it.
That movie, The Whale. That's who they are. They're like they have behind their keyboards.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You
they
don't,
don't,
yeah, you
they don't,
don't see them.
they don't come
Yeah.
outside. They don't be outside. I'm always outside.
Nah, this is
I
what my
am.
man
I
Randy,
swear.
Man, I want
my
to say
man, my man Randy says this. He says these dudes say this stuff in the comments, and I'm at all the jams, and he's literally at all the jams, and he says this is not even a conversation in the streets. This is a YouTube conversation.
right.
Right.
Nobody's talking about this. It's ridiculous. Nobody even wants to talk about this because they know. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff you're gonna see.
Right.
And
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
ready for it.
I'm
Let me tell you.
hiding. What did he
He's
say I
lying.
was doing?
I'll put it back up. I'll put
What
it
did he
back.
say I was doing? Hiding?
And basically, he's saying you don't want to sit in front of,
I'll read it
and I'm
again.
doing air
Okay,
quotes, a
Leech
real
Tinos are
historian
unwanted.
of hip hop.
Leech Tinos are unwanted guests in hip hop. Colon can get away with his nonsense on these obscure channels, but he'll never sit down in front of a real historian.
Who's the real? And I know he's watching. Who's the real historian?
I was just
And
about to ask.
let's set up the debate.
I was
Don't
just
tell me
about.
what I won't do. Let's set up the debate. Who's the real historian? Who are you talking about? Tariq Nasheed, a dude from that lives in Cali that never lived in New York. Who are you talking about? It's ridiculous.
I want to say something, and I'm just going to speak for Shadow Master because I think he needs to say something here real quick.
I want to say
Because
something so bad.
well, you should. Even I'm not from Chicago, but I've been here almost 18 years, right? And I've been to Subterranean again, the longest running open mic hip hop show in the world. And any given time you go in there, there is a multitude of races of people and nationalities in there doing their thing. Nothing but love, understanding, and respect. So it's really, really tripped out for me for people to it just on the internet and everything and just saying all this fucking nonsense when if like Daddy-O said, if you're really out there in the streets, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. These people are hiding behind keyboards and shit.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because if you go to a sub T, you come to Chicago and go to sub T's. By the way, it's on Tuesday nights. You'll see whites, Hispanics, blacks, Caribbeans. You'll see there was people in there this last Tuesday that came from Canada, one from
Yeah.
Australia,
Yeah.
one from Canada, just to come in there and experience sub T's and the open mic. So this shit is just like ridiculous, and this is why I really respect and have so much gratitude for both of you guys being on the show tonight. But you need to
Yeah.
be talking about this.
My
We elder
thing
statesmen,
is,
damn it.
Yeah.
my thing is with all of it is there's no possible way that you can use common sense and think that it was only black people that started this shit. That just makes no fucking sense at all to me because in my estimation and in my view and in my own personal history, for me it was always the have-nots and the haves. The have-nots didn't have shit. It wasn't
Yes.
just black people.
Yes.
Right.
It was Latinos. It was some white people. It was Indians. It was across the board of poor people that didn't have shit
That's real life.
and came up with their own after-school programs. They came up with their own way of self-help therapy through the arts,
Yeah.
and that
Mm-hmm.
covered the board. That covered every fucking race. That covered every motherfucking color that you could possibly think of because it was broke motherfuckers in those areas
Yeah.
that had to find something to do other than the bullshit that was going on around them. So there's no fucking way that you can make me believe that this is just a purely all black art.
And even from a popular culture aspect, even the breaking movies, there was all kind of cultures in those. I mean, if that's all you knew about hip hop
Exactly.
at that time, like what
Are
was
we back? Hey, it doesn't come full circle now. What's Cardi and Megan record
Yes,
name right
Buddha
now?
and a Latino.
Right. Well,
What's
and
what's the new Cardi and Megan record?
Dope.
say again, sir.
The new Cardi and Megan. It doesn't come full circle. What's the new Cardi and Megan record?
I forgot what that shit called.
Bongos. I rest my case.
Oh
Huh.
yeah,
I don't keep up with hot garbage. I'm gonna be
It's
honest.
called Bongo. It's called Bongos, brother.
I I
Okay.
appreciate it, but I'm not ever gonna check
Stop
it out.
playing with me.
I'm never gonna listen to it. I'm not.
He's an old school head, hip hop
I'm
head,
ahead.
underground, and
I was born in '71. I was raised under this shit. I had cousins in Brooklyn and Queens that was sending me fucking tapes. I had a motherfucking cousin that sent me an ADAT tape. I didn't have shit to play it on. I heard it was dope through just what he wrote, but I never heard it because I never
Right.
right.
agreed.
but I would
That's
get shit
crazy.
all the time. Be the first motherfucker on the block in Chicago saying this is the new shit, and people like, who the fuck? What the fuck? Where the fuck? Yeah. And then they eventually caught on, but it was so many varieties of flavor that was coming out of just hip hop. It wasn't just all black motherfuckers. It wasn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, because of where we had to grab all the records from, man. I mean, it comes from the records and the dances. You know, the records and the dances was what really made it like pop and, because there was no more fighting. You know, the gangs got tired. The Bronx was burning. They didn't want to see it happen no more. And they turned it around. And it turned a lot of people's mind around, too. You know,
Exactly.
there wasn't as many. It wasn't the shootouts in the park wasn't as there was more plentiful in my neighborhood than they were in the Bronx. I
Mhm.
live in Brooklyn, so I'm from Brooklyn, so probably my first outside party was shot up because that's just what they do. They're stupid. They
Hey,
dumb. We
my
dumb. We dumb. Period. We
my
just don't have sense.
What
my
they do.
first house party was shot the fuck up before I walked in there good. So I
Damn.
completely get it.
Wow, I'm just like, as much as I normally talk. Again, like I've
It's
had
just not a place for it
yeah,
because it's
well,
everything that it is.
There
yeah,
you go.
I've
There
had
you go.
conversations with Dr. Colon and been on three-way calls, and I'm literally sitting back listening to these calls, and I'm just like, holy shit,
But
like damn,
to see that comment though, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Is why because like the internet would be the only place for that bullshit because I could go and make a video right now and say that if you eat funnel cakes you worship the devil. And if I get enough buzz by Tuesday, it's a thing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of shit, I swear, I'm flabbergasted by that shit that I read.
Well, not unless you eat angel food cake, then
And you
you can.
definitely worship the devil, straight up.
right.
I mean, this shit
Right.
is unbelievable. It's unfucking believable.
When you hear things like that, Dr. Colon, does that inspire you or encourage you, or feel stronger about your constitution on this?
I mean, not really. You know, it just makes me want to continue to dig deeper and, find more information. Um, here's a for instance. Let me give you a for instance. James Brown, Godfather of Soul, the to many the Godfather of hip hop. His song "Give It Up, Turn It Loose" is considered one of the greatest b-boy anthems because of that drum break. So I did some research on the song and made a video on it, and I'm gonna do something in the new documentary with that. But I wanted to know who's the person playing the congas on that song, and it's a man by the name of John Griggs, African American. But I found out John Griggs actually, um, John Griggs, I'm sorry, somebody's trying to text me. John Griggs uh, played before he played with James, and probably around the same time, he played with Latin orchestras. So he played with the Fania All Stars. He played with all these in the 60s. He's a conga player for them. And then he gets on this song and he rocks out on this song. Now, you hear that break and, when James says, clap your hands, huh? Stomp your feet, huh? Clap your hands, huh? That's John Griggs. And then James says, Clive. And then Clive Stubblefield starts going off with the drum, and James starts, If you took the conga out of that piece,
Wouldn't be the same.
Would not be the same.
the B-boys would not be rocking to that piece. It is that collective, the drum and the conga together, that energy. It's a fact. So who inspired? Then I found out I asked the question, who inspired James Brown? And I found out James Brown was inspired by two things: African rhythms and Afro-Cuban sounds.
Makes sense.
Those are his inspirations. And I'm like, makes sense to me. But they want to make it James Brown, nah, he's from the South. So since he's the godfather of hip hop is from the South. That's the logic.
That is
That's what they say.
It's his.
We don't own that music. Got a awareness.
That's it. You get up and my knees are not what they used to be in '89. Ooh.
Yeah.
Get the point.
Yeah. That's that break.
You have
That break crazy, bro. That break crazy, bro.
Man.
You have a way of driving home your points with like the way you illustrate things, like your examples. You know what I mean? Like I think that's one of the things about the documentary, because for somebody who is not from that era, that's just curious, for just pure education, like the fact that you could see or hear or something, whatever it was that you were talking about, you had an example that we can actually see, and I thought that was brilliant. Or hear. I thought that was brilliant because, and if you think about the average documentary, it's more of a visual collage, like you're looking at something spectacular, but it was mostly your words, and then just to drive home your point, you give us a little bit of something. So for you to be able to captivate just by doing that, that's something in itself.
Right. Caught me hook, line,
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
What's the answer? What's the, in a nutshell, what's the answer to eliminating all of the bullshit that everybody is saying about, okay, the black motherfuckers started it, the Latinos was guests, this, that, and the other? What's the answer? How do we get on the same page?
That's for both. That's for both.
Listen to that
For
song.
both. For both.
Maybe.
Information. It's information. You're not going to convince them, but you'll convince somebody. But information, and they can hide behind their keyboards and ignore the information if they want to. But for me, it's just putting out more information. And at a certain point, I'm going to be done with this. Is not about me trying to convince anybody. This is me trying to create a historical record that can be for the future. That somebody, now everybody's not going to vibe with it, and I'm okay with that. But it's just putting out information, and you do what you will with the information, and But no, there will always be people that will say, "Nah, I don't care what you say. Y'all will guess." and
Right.
this is ours.
Right.
Daddy O.
Yo, give me two. No, my homie, she called me. She said, every time this song come on, I gotta call you. She in a club, they playing Sally. She bugging.
That's dope.
Oh,
She
okay.
bugging.
What you
Yeah.
got to say about Shadow Master? Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's
I
like,
mean, I agree. I agree with the information part. I think that if my peers and even people who are just kind of fan people and stuff like that, if they would just try to, like stay in tune, then I think it could be a little easier. When you isolate yourself, you put yourself over here and say, "Oh, I'm an old school artist," or do all those things. It you're gonna see division because you isolate yourself. You have to see the thread, right? Hip hop has a thread, right? And it did start somewhere. Sad to say, it wasn't here forever. Um, it did start somewhere, and so we trace where it started, and then we follow the path. I don't think we're anywhere near finished, you know. Um,
Right.
but I think you follow the path, and then I just feel like it's almost a nonsensical answer, but you know what? It's great that the brother did what he did because at least it's out in the open now, and we can have an open discussion about it. Because some of these feelings, I didn't know people felt like this.
yeah. I'm looking at the comments that have been on, and I'm also looking at the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Like this, yeah, we have a small podcast, but this is the first time we ever had a thumbs down. We got 3 of them joints right now, and it's
Wow.
ridiculous to me.
Kind of
Like,
excited about that though.
yeah, I'm excited about it too. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I hate it.
I mean, no, I mean, I think it's interesting to know that people think like that, right? So if you just think like a politician and you wanted to win a vote, it's important to know that they think like that, to know what your constituency needs,
Right.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
it probably is information. Because again, I mean, you're talking about people who see something in YouTube and just because they saw it on YouTube, they think they know it. They don't
Right.
do any digging. They don't talk to anybody. They don't know. That's a dangerous place to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I
Yeah.
know.
if you just say, "Oh, I'm doing me and I'm doing me from here on out, and I don't really care what happens, I don't care," that's a different story. More than like you're not gonna make it, but but
Mm-hmm.
man, like I don't know, but I do think that um people do need to play their part too, because I think the internet has made some people think that they have a pulpit or a stage or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's
Right.
not that's like a Hollywood camera. That's a phone, bro.
Right.
Right.
They
Right.
taped you with a phone. It wasn't a Hollywood camera. You was mistaken. That wasn't paparazzi. That was just people around that wanted to see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down, man. You know
You
what I
know,
mean? Like,
I've seen somebody. I've talked to someone about this whole topic, this whole everything, and their take on it has to do with the commercialization and commerce and New York being the epicenter of media and their whole take on everything is that if New York doesn't have if New York is not the epicenter of media at the time, even in the 70s, then everybody else was doing it anyways. It was going to happen anyways. Was their thought, so to speak, on that? What do you think about that?
no. Mm-mm. I think it was those elements from the Bronx that kind of brought it together, and then the contributions, and it is what it is today. I mean, we can't discount. We're in 2023 going into 24, so we cannot discount, um, people who've had enormous impacts on the culture that were from places very far away from New York, in terms of United States distance. You got a
Right.
guy like Hammer that's from the Bay. That's a long ways over the bridge.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got Snoop, who's a further over the bridge. He's still 40 on a call 40, 45 minutes out. On a good day, on a bad day, you might be 2 hours going from the valley to damn San Francisco or some dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Right.
they made contributions,
Who was
man.
further than
Luke.
that? like 6.5, 7 hours from LA to San Francisco. It's a drive.
Yeah, I mean Luke. Um, shout again. I shout him out. Breed from Flint. Dayton boys from Saginaw. Andre Nicotina from Sacramento. I mean, we done had some moments, man. Hip hop has had some real moments, bro. Cool Nuts out of what's that? Where they make the Nikes at? Portland.
Seattle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, cool nut.
cool Nuts out of Portland.
Mhm.
Yep.
We done had some moments, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like
Yeah.
people don't see all of that. They just see the part that they, and then we still ain't even get into guys like um um what's the boy that made what's the dude that made that dope Spanish record? Oh man, La Raza. What's the who made that? Something
Frost.
Fresh Kid,
Kid
huh?
Frost.
What's his name?
Kid Frost.
Kid Frost.
Yeah.
Him. A lot. It was a lot of cats that made joints. Be Real. Come on, Cypher's still knocking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but one would argue
Mm-hmm.
that that's later on in hip hop. That's not the beginnings of hip hop.
No, I mean the beginnings of hip hop, they can't even talk about that because they wasn't there.
Mm.
Shout out Tito from the Fearless Four because the Fearless was there too, and Tito was right there. He
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
There we
Come
go.
on, man. Cass was getting it in. Like, wasn't nobody getting, and like I said, and like he said, if you look around, you listen to some stuff at certain times, Whip or Ruby D was the highlight of that tape.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They had moments where they took over. I got live tapes, man, with, Fantastic, and they doing routines, and then Ruby D do his part. It'd be crazy. Like, we working on a joint right now. Yeah, I don't know if y'all know, but Wise in my group is Puerto Rican, fully Puerto Rican, always been, father and
Really?
mother.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
so
Yep.
on the new album, it was the light suggestion because they was like, you don't ever say nothing about your heritage. So on the new album, we got a solo record with him. It's a reggaeton record. I produced it. It's really good. He's good.
Dope.
Dope, dope,
Never
dope.
knew that.
Yeah. Like we making a Latin album on Wise. I mean, I don't want to say Latin album because you don't want to just rap in Spanish, but
Right.
it's a lot, with the salsa influences and all that stuff that we had growing up. Because
Mm.
that's what Mark and Corey did with the first. I want to say it was the first Mark Anthony album. They took
Mm.
like break beats and modified them all.
Wait a minute. Isn't Mantronics Puerto Rican?
I
I don't
don't
know if
know.
he Puerto Rican. He might be white. Mantronics might be white.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Listen,
Yeah, he
Heat.
white.
Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
I'm
think
gonna
he
have to.
white.
Oh, you froze
I'm gonna
up.
have
He
to.
white
I'm gonna
like
have
off
to
the
dip
Baker
out.
White.
Who froze up?
Go ahead, doctor.
We froze. We good?
No,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to dip out because my phone is telling me my battery is about to die.
oh,
Yeah,
my
I
man.
thought I charged it, man. Yeah.
We
We
appreciate you.
appreciate
So
you so much,
Yes.
man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much
let's
for
do
coming
let's
on the
do this
show.
again.
Oh
Let's do
yeah, and
this
Doc,
again.
me and you gotta talk. We gotta definitely talk. So I'll get your number from Heat.
Please, man. Listen, Daddy-O, I would love for you to be part of this new documentary. I mean, you talked about stuff that needs to be talked about, man. Let's talk.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. So yeah,
All
get
right.
my number
All
from
right.
Heat, man. He'll hook it up.
All
Mm.
right, we'll do that.
All right. All right, peace.
Peace, peace.
Blessings,
Thank you
Love.
so
guys.
much.
I'm
Love.
out. Heat. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Peace. Thank you
Thank you
guys
too,
so
Daddy.
much.
Unless you want to stick around.
I ain't know what you want me to do. I ain't doing nothing. So
I mean, we still shit. We still talking, man. I mean, shit. Like, what was your thoughts on all of this right now? Because I'm just like, I'm low key speechless and
I
just
like. I mean, I feel like I love it helping him, but I feel shaded that my peers are not smart enough to know what he already knows.
Mm.
uh,
Mm.
Right? Like it's like we're teaching this class again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really makes some of us look really dense, man.
right.
Like, are we saying that for real? Like, are we really arguing with this brother?
That's crazy.
Really? Us?
It makes
That's
no sense.
weird.
especially when he providing proof.
Right.
He got receipts. There's receipts all over the
It just
place.
it reminds me, like I told my I told
Right.
her for years. I told her for years. I'm like, in like 1983, I was in a breakdancing contest. I swear to you, it was. I know it was videotaped. I know it was videotaped. One day it's going to end up on the internet.
Mm.
And about 12, 13 years ago, something like that. I'm on YouTube. I'm just trying to search for it. I'm not even thinking I'm going to find it. I found that shit.
Wow.
She came home from work and I showed her that shit. I said, look, see, I told you. Because a lot of times they think, because I've been doing this shit for so long. I've been in hip hop since I was 16, 13, 15 years old. Oh, our phone died. You can still hear us. 14, 15 years old. I'm gonna plug up the other goddamn camera. Oh no, we're back. And there I was, and she's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that's you. You look like a baby. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm over there popping and shit and doing my thing, breakdancing and doing my shit. And the information is out there. And I tell her all the time, I've been in a lot of places and done a lot of things. It's just a matter of time before those receipts pop up on the internet, because they will eventually, just like that breakdance contest that I was in back in the 80s, early fucking 80s, popped up on the internet.
Right.
And for somebody who knows, like myself, I can't nobody tell me about my receipts. I got mine. I know mine. And eventually they're going to show up. And eventually these naysayers or whoever, eventually they're going to have to see the light.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to. They can live in a rock under a shell all they want, but the facts will come out at some point.
Well, I can honestly say I've never been, especially in the beginning, I've never been to a hip hop event where it was
All
just
black.
all black.
Never.
People. Never. Ever.
And if it was something going down.
Yeah.
If it was, then you know damn well you ain't gonna be there that long before the lights start flashing. And before
Yeah, if it was probably was Mobile. And them cutthroats down there. Them cutthroats down there wasn't playing. You get caught in a club in Mobile, yeah? Go ahead. You got my condolences.
and Lil Rock. Lil Rock is no joke.
My condolences.
Man.
Telling you, man.
It's almost
They man.
You know?
And I get it. Like I understand that, but if we're gonna advocate for that, then let's say, oh, we got more black dope dealers or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Knock it out.
It depends on the ranks.
Yeah.
Lower level.
It really do depend on the ranks. It really does. So come on, like they be bugging. But you know what I think? I'll tell you one of the things I think, and it's just me. I feel like I want to say culture, but maybe I just say our era of the culture,
We all from
than now, but one that somebody had on those um, concert, right? The Rock the Bells concert, and Latifah was on. It's the one they did in Forest Hills, and I'm looking at Latifah, and I'm looking at the audience, and I'm looking at what they're doing, and then I was gonna do a side by side, but I said that's too brutal. I grabbed a little piece of Lil Uzi Vert, and he wasn't even rapping; he was just running through the crowd. You should see how they was going crazy, and I was like, these adult people past 40 almost need to be reintroduced to the culture.
Yeah.
Because the way they handle it is so they don't know what to do. They don't know to dance at clubs. They don't know people need to tell them what to do, like teach them how to do things and stuff. And so I don't know, I see it. I guess I see it because I'm in a band and, we making a new record. We've been on the road. So, it's watching people's learning curves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same world. Like we just don't live in the same world that we used to. So, and again, I mean, I think that some of them use the phones and all that stuff just way too much. I was talking to a nurse once and she was like, I don't know how my mother did it. She had more than one of us and she managed fine. I just got one and I'm going crazy. I said, what do you have in your hand? She said, my phone. I said, you grabbing information from that phone every day that you don't even need. Your mama wasn't doing that. She was taking care of her business, even if her business was cleaning up and watching soap operas after. The shit was clean at least. You understand what I'm trying to say? Come on, man. Knock it off.
Think that made her do what it is that was supposed to be done,
You just fall
just
in
by
line.
nature
Yep, fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
and common sense, which is not common.
Yeah, it's just you're not really meant to come. All of this. You get lost in TikTok for an hour, even if you get lost for 20 minutes. It's like some of this ain't. You didn't come out your house today for this information.
Right.
Like you didn't head out to Barnes and Noble. You didn't go to a bookstore. You didn't go to a coffee shop and have a book that you rented or bought that you want to read. Like that, people, some kind of way you encounter these things on a timeline. And who the hell knows who owns the algorithm to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what the hell?
And
You know what I
everybody
mean? It's like,
much
yeah,
information, they don't take time to research anything.
Mm-mm.
no, and that's not good. But I think so to that point, I think if those 40 plusers, I don't want to say plusers, 40 plus, that 40 plus crew, if they could understand what it is, kind of be taught in some kind of subtle way, I think it would be dope. Because they a little, some of them a little bitter bunch.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I get told I'm bitter all the time by my kids about hip hop and some other people, but I'm not. I don't give a fuck. I make music. I like the shit that I make. I don't really care if anybody likes it or not. It's cool if somebody does like it, but I make the shit for myself. I don't really, and I've been through all of that already. I had my little stint in the industry and making music and trying to make music because I was told to make it for the radio. You got to make this for that. You got to do this or that. And I don't do that shit. But I ain't mad at hip hop. I ain't mad at the culture. I ain't mad at anybody about it. I don't, one way I'm indifferent. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. To me.
It's too many things that I got out of hip hop that aided and helped me along my journey in this world. So I could never say a foul word about it because it was my therapy. It
Yeah.
was my home base. It was my everything for a long period of time up until this point right now. So
And even if you can't find anything in the now, you can always go back to the was and
exactly.
pull what you already pulled.
Exactly.
Hmm. Well, damn.
I mean, I think we made something good. Um, I think we sometimes we do a shit job at preserving it. Shout out to Rocky Buchanan and everything they're trying to do at the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Um, I mean, I know people are making efforts to preserve it. Some of the conversations still need to be had, and then we need to get with somebody like Paul Allen that understands that. Like, you see what Paul Allen did in Seattle with that museum? Like, we need that kind of acumen,
Right.
the seriousness for us, because it's weird with hip hop because they'll act like they round for it, act like they root for it, act like they root for us, and then sometimes cats pull out of the race, whether it be a investor or whoever,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then that just it makes it like, and then us, we still, most of us are still anti corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very much so.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying that all of us are. Some people don't mind at all, but most of us are anti corporation. So you don't usually see us doing coke and Sprite and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We could. I'm sure we could. I mean, who wouldn't hire Chuck D?
Right.
Well, now it's a lot of people that I think wouldn't hire him just because of the message that he represents.
Really?
He's
I mean,
still
because all they care about now is that they got the 90, right? They got the who there it is. They got 95 South.
hmm
Somebody else used something.
and what else?
Eh, I don't know.
Who's now?
Well, yeah, yeah. Ain't nothing new under the sun at this point.
Do you think it's
Yeah, but it's
I
tough.
know this is probably going to sound like a stupid question, but do you think it's important for the preservation of hip hop? I mean, I'm asking just because I know that there are people out there that are,
You mean, is it important to preserve it?
yeah,
Yeah, I think so. I think we need a guy like a Paul Allen. I think we need those kind of creative minds that could make it that could preserve it and still make it really fun and not make it artifacty. Because we could be preserved and just be artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
True. That's very true.
And I don't want to see us be fossils and shit like that. Like, that's whack.
I think there could be a lot of different expressions of it though. Also, like somebody like a Nelson George that has done a lot of different type of documentaries and different takes on different things. Like maybe there could be like a 78 volume video encyclopedia type deal or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. The story is hard to tell, but not impossible. Right? So we
Yeah.
just gotta kind of, I'm not a filmmaker, so I mean, I spoke to some very powerful filmmakers that told me, "Daddy, just get your production credit. Just don't let that ever run away." And I got a couple of films I want to make. That one would be a really big undertaking. I would have to think about that. Like some definitive hip hop. I mean, it's still got to live, breathe, and grow, right? So you got to like start it, make it long, like you said, but then leave some room at the end to keep adding to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or even like a video time capsule of sorts.
Yeah, yeah. But it got to keep being added to. It's a
Yeah.
lot of work.
So maybe
It would be
start
a
with
lot of work. It'd be worth it though. It would be dope.
yeah.
It
And
sounds
you
I
know,
like
mean, I know people are trying some stuff. I just talked to somebody that said they want to turn hip hop songs into curriculums. I think that's dope.
that
that
Or
would
would
be
classes or whatever. That's dope.
that extremely dope.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It sounds
So
like
yeah,
something
I think
that
I think
you
I
should.
think we're getting it.
It sounds like something that Daddy, or it sounds like something that you should be forefronting and pushing for this. And I
yeah. If
know
you're gonna say that, you
I'm
might as well be pushing too. I might as well
I'm
be
just
pushing.
about to say
Yeah.
I'm speaking for everybody in here.
Yeah.
We
For
would
real.
gladly help out in any way, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
Well, I think it needs to be said. I mean, I feel like so. This is how I feel, right? So I'm a rapper, right? But I'm a rapper. I rapped in the '80s. I'm an '80s rapper. I call myself an '80s rapper more than a '90s rapper. '90s to me is Busta and Jada, right? So, I'm an '80s rapper. Um, I like what I do, but I still think that we have like some work to do. And I think I said this before. Like, I'm just part of what I do is just trying to convince my peers to make records.
Mm.
Mm.
You
Yeah. I
know,
think.
I just heard something. Let me tell you something, man. I didn't
What's up?
say this, but I could talk about it because I'm not giving it to you. I can anyway. Um, so I just heard this project that Chuck did called Enemy Radio. This should feel just like a brand new Public Enemy record. It's a couple of features, but even the way he put the features in there, this shit is cray cray. It's
Mm.
crack. Like it's real Chuck D. Like the fuck, like yo, it's crazy. It's dope.
Piece of that. I got to
Yeah.
get a piece of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Likewise.
but I mean, it's just like it's like a lot of stuff that we just gotta do, like and then we gotta be dope again, which is not easy, but it's not impossible. So
Yeah.
how are you dope again if you're Kumo D? How are you dope again if you're MC Light? How are you dope again if you're Big Daddy Kane? Because it's got to be something, right?
Well, big. I'll say this, Daddy. Like, one of the things I tell like a lot of my constituents, people that are my age and some of them a little younger that are still in the culture, that are still doing things. There's a whole lane that hasn't been tapped, which is what somebody told me that they're coining the phrase contemporary hip hop, which is I say
Yeah.
old grown folks hip hop because there's a lot of elder statesmen like myself. I would prefer to listen to some new hip hop that sounds like
Well,
old hip.
you'll like the Stead album. You'll like the Stead album. I
Yeah,
think we did our thing. Yeah. But no, I mean, there's room. It's just an issue of filling up the room, right? We got to fill the room.
there
So
might.
if we don't have records from Latifah, if we don't have records from Naughty, if we don't have records from Rakim, I mean, You know me, I'm gonna make a record anyway. I'm making Stet album. I'm gonna make Daddy O records. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. But if it was more of us, it'd be a lot easier.
Or if there was more unity in it.
Yeah, man, it's easy. Let me tell you how easy shit is. Watch this. Watch this. Let me show you how easy this is. You know how easy it would be if you just rent, say, I don't know, the best cabin. Cabins are nice, right? Best cabin, bedrooms, whatever's in the cabin, studio and joint. 2 weeks, salt and pepper, Pharrell. See how easy that was?
Mm.
Yeah.
See how easy that is?
Right.
That's very easy, bro. I'm telling you, it's easy, man. None of this is hard to fix, bro. None of it. If they just concentrate on what they came in the game doing. You know what I mean? We came in rapping. It don't mean that we shouldn't do other things. I'm not going to take away from that. But it means they know you because you're a rapper. Like, just trust me, bro. The whole world. I said this before. I'm not even gonna say that part. I'll leave that part alone. I will say this: if there was a dope new Rakim record right now, we would have to do the same thing that everybody did in the beginning: go back, reevaluate. Because when we heard "Check Out My Melody," we didn't know what to do.
Right. Facts.
Yeah.
Everybody think it was "Everybody for President," it wasn't. It was the melody record that shook the MCs.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like, okay, so where do we go from here?
Right.
And I swear, I think Rock could do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All he got to do is be the right record, and he spaz on it.
That's it.
Hypothetically speaking, who should make that record?
I'm sitting on it.
It's already done.
Yeah, it's a producer. His name is Goldfingers. He's out of North Carolina.
Nice.
You know he produced Top Billin'?
Really?
Yeah. Daddy
Really?
produced Top Billin', yeah. Milk is chilling.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the next Audio 2 record too, but I'm probably gonna give it to Stat because Milk can't hit me back.
Wow. See?
My A&R game on point, man. These young boys. I mean, I've still produced records, but I mean, they got it, man. They got it. It's the way they be thinking. Like sometimes it's just be coming off. Like, and what's so crazy is I think at least this little collect and you in that group too. That collection of producers, they know us. But they still exploring and doing what they doing. So it don't. It ends up if you rap right, it don't sound old. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you just gotta rap right. You know what I mean? You could rap wrong and it could sound old.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just listening to what you call, and I wanted to call Bobby and say, "Yo, what's wrong with using soul power?" Because that boom, 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 that joint is funky. I never really heard nobody play with that ever.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
Nah, it ain't that tricky. I got something up my fucking sleeve that I'm working with a young artist right now.
I've tried to mess with it and
nah, bro. You don't know what I got up my sleeve. I'll play. I should play a piece of it because it's a young rapper out here in Chicago. You know Reggie Smokes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm working with him, and we're gonna be doing these EPs, and we're gonna go through each genre, and not genre, each era of hip hop. So we're starting in the '80s, and then we're gonna go 10 years, and we're gonna do '90s, 2000s, and so on and so forth. He picks the old joints, and I retool them.
Okay.
And then he writes a new joint that is similar but not the same.
Right.
So right now we got My Philosophy that's done, and
That's
then
nice.
Yeah, I'll play it real quick if you want to hear a little pitch smidgen of it. But then we also have like, so he hits me after we get done doing the My Philosophy joint, and he had already given me a list, and then he hits me out of nowhere, and he says, I need to do the Grand Verbalizer. What time is it? And I was like, oh shit, no, he didn't. So I went back, X Clan, found the Average White Band sample and everything, resampled it, retooled it, redid some shit, and that song is fucking bananas.
Nice.
Like,
That's
just
crazy.
yeah.
Nice.
Let me find that. You can go ahead and talk. I'm gonna find that motherfucker right quick.
Well, I got a question for you, Daddy-O. Is it any tracks or producers, beat makers that remind you of any old school beat makers and producers? Like their voice?
They totally different. And then you got to realize I'm spoiled because I got Prince Paul.
Yeah,
Ah,
well, facts.
So,
Facts.
having Paul is like, that's a whole nother life. Just watching him work is, I say it over and over. It's amazing. He's an amazing person. Probably first time I ever saw what I might consider musical genius is with Paul. So, um, I don't see anybody that resembles him, but then I can look at my favorites. When I first started the new self destruction, we call it stop self destruction. When I
that's
first started this process, the first thing I did was reach out to producers. So I reached out to Pete Rock, Easy Moby, Large Professor Primo, and who else gave me a beat? Um,
that's good.
Large Professor KG and Tramp gave me something. Rottweiler gave me some heat. Like I got a few other things, but I went out for a certain producer before I even put people on the record. And
Yeah.
I just don't think that, no. Because the new kids, they even use different materials, like even different types of hardware, even though most of it is software. So it's a way that they make what they make. Um, I mean, what you call them is doing a good job with
Okay.
Nas, the Hit Boy records.
Okay.
Yeah, I like what Hit Boy is doing. That kind of reminds me. Hit Boy is Kanye-ish, I would
Hit,
say.
Okay.
hit
Yeah, speeding them records up and stuff like that.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, I get it. And I love it because it's Nas, you know what I mean? But it's like, I seen somebody post today, right? A picture of the Nasir. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody put the picture up today and says, one day y'all get Nasir. And I said, amen. That record
yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Underrated
Can you
severely.
hear that?
Which one is this?
This is the My Philosophy joint.
Okay.
Let me get it to play real quick.
All the realest of the real rock with me. Take position at the head of my class, teaching philosophy. So today's subject is civil unrest, where higher tax and lower wages got us upset. National debt's been rising, we in the hood surviving. Meanwhile, we vibing, surrounded by the violence. It's urban warfare. Gang units run the streets and shots ringing through blocks. When I'm dreaming in my sleep, it's deep. Government policy follow me. Oligarch aristocracy with elitist psychology. But ain't nothing stopping me. Gotta teach the message I came to preach. Spread the word through the streets and everywhere you can reach. Smokes back, the spotlights on cameras in action. First things first is addition and subtraction. So me plus a beat minus doubt equals heat. Put my shit out in the streets, rain, sunshine, or sleep. Let's go.
Yeah, dope. Dope.
Flat out.
Bro, yeah, it gets better.
I compete and achieve with a trick up my sleeve. The new magician make you listen with the consummate ease while blowing trees. I'm climbing to the highest level with the brightest bezel. I'll be back, but for now, just settle. Back into the rhythm produced by lie detector. I take a sip of water, then continue with my lecture. So I grab a pen, a pencil, a marker. Mainly what I write is for the average hip hopper. All these so-called rappers keep talking, trying to show how black people are walking. But I don't walk that way, cause I'm my own man. If I do anything, I do it with my own plan. Working like a dog, the hardest you ever seen. Keep it going while I'm flowing to the ocean from a stream. Stressing my progression from a minor to a major. Hip-hop needed me, so I came back to be your savior.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of them.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's hard. That's dope.
That's sick.
Then we got the one, because when he hit me with the message and said he changed the list on me, because I told him to pick out the joints from each era for each EP, because we're gonna do a volume of each one.
Right.
He hits me, he changes the thing, and then he texts me in the morning. He's like, "I gotta do Grand Verbalizer. What time is it?" And I knew he immediately was like, "Oh shit, X Clan, this boy crazy."
Yeah.
And so I immediately made the track. Immediately told him, as soon as you get off work, motherfucker, I'm picking your ass up. You come into the studio, we're recording shit. He already had one verse written from in his mind from listening to the X Clan joint, and I told him, I said, what I got is it's the same, but it's different. Trust and believe. And so he ends up sitting here. He does the verse. We record it. Then as we're recording and doing everything, he writes the second verse, does the second verse. And I'm like, we got to do something with the hook. I call my guy in New York. He lives in Brooklyn. My guy Avarice. I've already done records with him. He does the third verse and makes the hook for the song, and the shit is fucking bananas. I'm gonna play that. Hold on, that's the wrong one. Hold on, let me get to it real quick. Like, there we go. Oh, wait a minute. This is the instrumental, because his ass should have been rapping. Hold up. Hold on. That's the instrumental. Hold on.
About to start freestyling.
Hold up. Hold up. Let me get that motherfucker real quick, because when he goes in and vine swinging, where is it? Hold on, because that's the instrumental. Let me pull that up real quick. Just give me 1 second.
Now, if you
Be
want to
so
run
kind.
run the instrumental.
Yeah, because I'll pull it right out the fucking email, because I had to send it to Avarice.
I say, don't be putting your business out.
No, I'm not. No, hell no. I just pulled that shit back. Hold on. Real quick, just give me 1 fucking second, because this song is so cold. And when we're and the other things that are on the agenda, like, man, I'm just like, god damn.
He's really dope though.
Let me see. Make sure this is it.
Not for nothing, guys.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. This is it. This is with the verses and everything in it. Still has to be mixed though, so excuse the mix. And there's gonna be talking and shit in the beginning.
I'm the mic destroyer, scientific professor, reckless force of nature, MC corpse collector. I see a hit, now I'm addicted to rap. I flip a rhyme until it bubble like I'm whipping up crack. It's just a fact that I'm the supreme, the best you've seen. Accelerating, shooting the space just like a laser beam. Originated from the mind of a psycho. My penmanship perfection while you stressing over typos. I dump a magazine 1,000 words a minute quickly. Can't smoke the weed unless it's purple and the herb is sticky. Light up a tree just like it's Christmas Eve. Labeled a veteran cause I got the pedigree of a different gotta love it. Yo, I give a feeling reminiscent of a different time. I'm like the leader of my tribe, how I check the rhyme. Over for quality, I've been an anomaly in me. You see the reflection of the shit that you ought to be. Roll up and link with the.
Uh-oh. Stop. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
That's dope though.
Yeah. It's fire. We got some other tricks up the sleeve. We got, because he also wanted to do Poor Righteous Teachers
Rock that funky joint.
joint, yeah, and I already made the track to it. The shit he's gonna do to that is fucking ill. He already got the verses written, so we're supposed to record that this weekend. Oh, the Rock This Funky joint? Yeah, I got that on deck.
I'm surprised you ain't fuck around with that Ed OG and the Bulldogs joint.
The Ed OG?
Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, I got to have it.
Yeah. Oh no, it's coming. Trust me, it's on the list. That and also Special Ed's I Got It Made. So I'm retooling.
Yeah, I got it made. It's hard.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna jump, my peoples.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Daddy-O, man.
Much appreciation, much love.
Yo, and he hooked that thing up between me and the doctor. But I always want you involved. Like I don't believe in all that like middleman crap and people trying to get in touch with each other. You hooked it up, so I want to keep you involved. I got some ideas of kind of things we could do with him.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And the documentary that he's talking about doing that's coming up, I'm going to be doing the score for the documentary.
Nice.
Oh, okay, that works. Okay, cool.
Yes, sir. Thank
That's
you
what's
so much.
up.
Gratitude and peace
All
to you,
right,
brother.
Appreciate
and we'll talk soon. All right, peace.
Hey, oops, I accidentally cut him out. So, hey, yo, can we get some outro music, man?
I think I might have forgotten that we were still doing the damn show.
Yeah.
Shit. Oops.
Hey,
how did that happen?
Right.
Listen. This has been Unrap, baby. Shit, I don't know. Give a fuck. Hey, this shit been crazy, baby. Make the little kid my ass come out. Come on. There you go. Motherfucker, happy as hell tonight.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna be freestyling in my sleep. I'm gonna be breakdancing and spinning on my head in my sleep. I'm gonna be hitting up subway trains in my sleep. I'm gonna be DJing the biggest party in my sleep.
You gonna be breaking?
I'm gonna be breaking too. I'm doing it all tonight. This has been one, man. This is Unrap, baby. This is what the fuck we do.
Yes.
You better get in tune and get tuned the fuck out.
Real quick.
We'll be back at it like crack addicts next Friday at 8:30, and that's Chicago time. Stupid
5 dummy still in there with us.
You know what it is.
Crazy.
Hey.
Broadcasting since Thursday.
Yeah. Hey. And we out.
Are we out?
Peace.
Really?
We gone.
Go ahead.
I draw twos and draw foes, reverse the earth axis, skip to rhyme form. Solar tactics, blast your ass backwards. Matter of fact, I smack whack them C's for practice. Vocal graphics stuck on automatic. I got a habit of clinging to mics like I was static. Sporadic with the gift, the gap that I spit. Controlled by the rhythm of snares and bass kicks. Who's that stepping inside your door? We unwrapped in this bitch, so I thought you know. You didn't know? Now you knew. I guess they didn't. Still on the microphone, still fucking spitting. Let me stop it. I know this shit is like over, so I gotta go and fetch the bone like Rover. Call me Mama Duke when I'm on that ass, cause I'm gonna fuck around and grab the microphone and pass. So let's make it last. No, let's end it. This fucking thing is over. Let's send it out to the airwaves and let them check it. History in the making, dog. Don't wreck it. Just fucking respect it and get it in. I'm tired, dog. Go ahead and begin your rhyme or your freestyle, whatever you want to call it. Just fill my cup up, cause I'm a crazy alcoholic, huh?
Yeah. You heard that shit. Shout out Master in the building. 606 Shot City, baby. Man, we about this bitch, man. Peace. See y'all next Friday at 8:30. That's Chicago time. Dummy.
Don't be late.